Hello everybody, it's been a long time since our last video, but nevertheless, today we're gonna have an awesome indie project in Infernax. Few games have made me more excited over a simple trailer than in Infernax. As someone who grew up with the 8-bit action games, I AJ crowd a preview of last month, where I was pleased with that they had a cloud-only speculate on where it would go. Whenever I heard that have opportunity to try the finished product, I knew I had to see whenever my hopes were realized. Infernax is developed by Berserk Studio, published by the Arcade Crew, and released on Steam, Switch, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and the Game Pass on the February 14, 2022. Yeah, it's been a long time since my hands get into this. So Infernax follows Duke Elcedor, or whatever you name him, but well, we'll go with default here, as he battled demons across the land of Upil. Things stay pretty straightforward from here, once you passed into the bit that sets up needing to clear the 5 dungeons to access the final tower. There is a little way plot interruptions or directions until the end. It's a bit minimalistic today's standards, but it fits the retro vibe and the game has, and I never felt like the plot was especially lacking either. It's not like I went to a castle and had questions of why I was there to slay the demon, enough said. If you do want more plot and world building through, there are side quests of NPCs to chat with. Like the main plot, they are fairly basic, but they do give each town a unique flavor. They show more of how the demons are interfering with the leaves and the townspeople. And over the course of them, you do find a bit more about the cult that caused the war problem. There are even a few genuine storylines here and there. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's far better than that we had back in the era that the game is mimicking without feeling too modern. Now is one aspect I've been neglecting so far, and that has the morality system. There are multiple endings in the game, 2 depending on if you've been more good or evil, and 2 more that require you to have stuck to one side almost exclusively to unlock some final side quest. Sadly, most of the chronicles are fairly straightforward. Pick the option that punish demon or cultist and show mercy to the villagers for the good points, vice versa for evil. This is actually one area where I felt the game was a bit too simple for its own good. There were numerous occasions where I felt like I was going to make a more complicated moral choice, like showing the mercy to my enemies even if may bite the later, or needing to make a hard choice to do what's right on. But no, I was simply overthinking things, and it was simple choice of whenever to punish the evildoers or let them keep doing evil. Still, it doesn't have surprising amount of difference for the otherwise fairly straightforward game. Your choices impact not only what ending you'll receive, but the spells you can acquire and which side quests are available, with their own unique encounters as well. It's simplistic in a term of the choices being made, but manages to have more of an impact on the game than a fair number AAA titles. So in my initial impression, I felt the Infernax was going on a bit of Metroid road, but in the end it's not quite accurate. It's still a side-scrolling action platformer when you get the new abilities to access the new areas, but emphasis is more on the platforming and combat and less on the exploration. It's more in line with the classic NIS adventure games like Legends of Zelda, Castlevania II, or Blaster Master, when your abilities are used to access the entire areas, never for the secret rooms and collectibles. As covered in the preview game, mainly involve platforming and melee combat, with your melee having only a little bit of range to it. There are level ups for more attack, health, or magic, and you can buy the new equipment, potions, and spells at its own. The lack of range makes positioning and recognizing enemy patterns very important, especially with the limited amount of health and resource between save points. While there are spells you can use, the vast majority of them are buffs to aid your melee combat, and the few range options cost precious magic points that could be used for heals and buffs. So the best option is typically to just get good and swing away. Thankfully, all the enemies have tell you can learn, and after a few attempts studying a boss, it's even possible to find safe spots for a number of attacks that keep you in shrinking range. I will say that it's essentially more difficult than the preview. Enemies no longer drop the health and magic, instead you have is what you get until the hit is the next save point, or use on the precise few potions you have been able to bring from the town. Although there is one saving grace, the extra lives. They may manage to take the retro concept of the lives and play with them in a way that actually makes them meaningful, even with the modern concept of frequent and free save points. So extra lives are fairly rare. Each town has one for sale and for a hefty amount of good at all. However, what you're buying is increased to your maximum and you get all lives back when you hit a save point. This allows the game to be mean with the platforming and means if you run out of the health of magic, it's not big deal since you come back at your most recent room with all your health and magical back once you inevitably die. You can only have so many lives based on how far you are, but it doesn't feel too bad to use them either because you'll be getting them all back when you hit the set point. The developers really did take a fantastic balance with the difficulty. This game is mean, with some of the platforming requirements and enemy placements, but this is hard in a way that never feels unfair. I always felt like I came back a second on the third time, I would prevail. One of my favorite things about the classical retro titles is how the background music feels like it should be called foreground music, with how often the most memorable parts of area and Infernax continues this proud tradition. So, the Infernax keeps the things that work from the nostalgic classical of yesteryear while changing what didn't. I haven't had this much fun game in a while. It's just a perfect blend of difficulty and discovery from the start to the finish. It's basic, sure, but sometimes shaving off the excess parts is how you polish something down to its core. It's not terribly long to beat this once, about 6 hours of playthrough, but you want to go through it at least twice, and there are even more things that keep things fresh on a second playthrough, so you're not quite regarding the same game on a second time. If you're a fan of the old school action, definitely pick this up. Bye!